All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm using just a flesh tone color. Again, if you're, I'm gonna use, if you remember, this was the paper towel, the shop towel. So what you want to do is get a good base coat of your base color. Again, it could be any color. You could use a green, you can use a blue. I'm just gonna, this is just a flesh. All right. So another way you can do it too is that you can use kind of like a leather tan. This is antique mahogany. So it does, it kind of stains the latex. Another one that works really good is the medium brown. You could use that as well. So actually I'm going to prepare my brush for the next technique. So I'm going to trim off because I want the brushes a little stiffer. Try to get off the loose hairs. Or the technique I'm going to use to paint this. So I still have to do another coat of a primer, and I tinted the primer a little bit with a, just like an olive, you know, well, yeah, a little green. But what I'm trying to do is get a kind of like a skin look, that translucent look on this head. So what I do is I use several different colors. I use a red, and you want it washed down pretty good. I also, and I didn't bring it, but normally I put a little alcohol in here as well. Just helps it when you put it on, it helps dry a little faster. Now they call the blue and the burnt sienna real dangerous colors. You want to make sure you don't put, the lighter the better when you put it on there. So water it down a little more. And the blue will turn it really cold, and then trying to back that up is really hard. Some very forgiving colors is this is the ochre, your yellows, your reds, your greens. Your skin tones are made up of a lot of different colors. And what this does, it helps you, it makes us layer them. So I kind of try to use my harshest colors first. Just in case I mess up, then I can go back and then, if I have to reprime. Now this will turn it really hot. What I mean by that, it'll give it a nice, too much of a tan. So again, so these you just barely want to use. See the blue? And some blue, not too bad because it kind of looks veiny. What you don't want to look like is like a bunch of big speckles. And you can see I'm not washing out my brush, just dabbing it away. Maybe a little more with the, and you should probably let these dry before you move to the next one, but I like saving red for the last. This is another technique I like using. I don't like straight lines, so you pull just a makeup brush or a makeup sponge, pull it apart. Another is a sea sponge that works great. So if you overdid it in the colors, you can just go back in and break that down. But some of the brown, when I use brown, it also kind of looks like age spots, as you can see in some of those areas. I use all of them plus a violet. I use a violet in there as well. Just to, again, layer it and trying to give it that translucent kind of look to it. And this is before I start doing some of my detail. Normally I like using an airbrush, and that's what I'll use, to paint this normally, but most people don't have airbrushes, so I'm showing you that you could do it with a brush. So you could paint your base layer. Like I said, you could use latex paint. A lot of these craft paints, just make sure you thin them enough if you're going to use this technique. But then you go in and you start doing your lips. For me, I'll come back and I'll darken up the eyelids. I'll do the mouth. I'll really do the tongue in more detail. This just gives me the foundation of what it's going to, and then I'll highlight, bring in some browns, and I'll use a brush. But again, normally I use an airbrush, and I would darken up areas like this. I would do some modeling with some of the purples and the browns, but you can use a C sponge, just pull that apart, and very lightly you want to just put, I would just dab that on there, and not much at all. You don't want to leave big gobs, just as you model the colors, and then you can just build on those colors in certain areas, like that under the eyes where the eye bags would be. We'll see, just gives it a nice, looks like skin texture. The other thing with a wash that we can use, and we'll use the brown, I'm gonna add a little more water. And this is just a wash, and then I'm going to, the darker tones will settle in the deepest parts of that. Okay, you just build it up from there. Same with the browns. Okay. And just layer the colors. And this is more for getting into like under the eyelids. You can add some reds and purples. That's how I will attempt to paint this this witch monster. So that's it. So hopefully that was beneficial. I'll see you guys the next time.